Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to AgeCheck's WooCommerce plugin live demo. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're going to take you through a little bit about AgeChecked, a bit of background and who we are, and then I will pass on to my colleague Steve, who will take you through a demo of the plugin. So a little bit about AgeChecked. We are an age verification, identity verification, and compliance checks organisation. We work with a number of different industry sectors globally. So that's within retail, within gambling and gaming, online content, and financial services. Part of the way in which we work, which I guess differentiates us from others, is we're very collaborative and flexible in our offering. So we offer technology that will meet the needs and the compliance needs of different requirements for each merchant, as well as different industry sectors. We also operate an anonymised platform, so we protect end users and merchants by not storing or sharing any personal data. We simply use that data to age verify or identity verify that individual, and then that data is deleted from our system. So we're not holding, nor are we storing. And that's a key part to our business, and certainly something that our customers and clients are very appreciative of. In terms of our offering of technology and our plugins, we decided to offer certain plugins for certain e-commerce platforms, and one of them is WooCommerce. This is down to the stats which state that 28% of online stores use WooCommerce, and there's been something in the region of 90 million downloads. So from our perspective, it was the right thing to do to offer a plugin that was an easy integration for anyone that needs to complete compliance age verification checks when using this e-commerce platform. I'm going to hand you over now to Steve, who's going to take you through how the platform works, how it's integrated, and the options available.
Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. So I'm just going to give a quick walkthrough on the plugin and how to first off install it and then obviously activate it on your website from there. As Rachel had said, so what we've created is a seamless integration of the AgeChecked API onto your WooCommerce platform. So what we've done now, and I'll just take you through, is created a sample site here, so a sample e-commerce site with probably one of the most popular that we see at the moment, which is vaping products. So we see a lot of those, and particularly on the WooCommerce platform. Again, as Rachel said, that's why we decided to focus on this initially here. So within the WooCommerce platform, we obviously have a number of different ways that we connect in with the user. And the main thing that we want to make sure is that we can seamlessly verify each user who's attempting to purchase on store without actually interrupting the user journey. So as we walk through the process here, we'll be able to highlight the ways in which we do that. So first off, what we're going to do is just show you how we actually install the plugin onto the site. Now, if you're familiar with WordPress at all, you'll be able to see that the process of installing plugins is very, very straightforward. So if we are in the back end, we would simply go to add new. And what we're going to do is just search for AgeChecked. And we'll see that we can download it direct from the repository as we have it here and upload straight onto the site. There's also a link on our website where we can download direct here, which will take you to that repository itself there. But let's just activate it from the back end. And we'll see obviously AgeChecked here, and we have it on the sidebar here. So what we're going to do is go in to the AgeChecked plugin here and within the settings site. Now, one of the things within AgeChecked that we need to make sure is that you have a merchant account before you actually then progress on to using the API. And Rachel will touch a little bit on that later. But within the merchant account, once you work with the sales team to get signed up to the platform, what we'll then be provided with is these API keys and the URL that you need to connect into. So in terms of installing that or integrating that into your site, as you can see, very straightforward. So we have the API URL. It's simply copy and paste copy and paste the details with the public key and secret key in there. So it'll obviously be your own public key and secret key that will be specific to your site, and then be able to work that way with your WooCommerce platform. So when we have the API integrated to this level, what we then need to make sure is that we have the actual products that we like there. So what we want to do is make sure it's flexible from that side. So it allows you to add to specific categories of products, or to add globally to all products. What we're going to work through now is, say we have a site and we're selling vaping products on that site. So let's then choose that category to then show how the process works. So if we see from the WooCommerce product categories, what the plugin will do is pull back all of the categories that you have on your site. So we can simply select the category that we want, and then that'll activate the API onto that particular category. So if we go back onto the front end of our site, if we go into our shop, let's see, we have a vape product here that we're purchasing, and then into the view cart, and then we're going to proceed to checkout. And this is where the API then starts to work. So the way that we have set it up, the staging, this will use some data that we have already programmed in, but again, what we're looking to make sure is that it's very seamless in terms of the actual customer journey. So there's no interruption to that at all. So there are two types of checks that we have. The first, which is the client API check, which takes the information that the user passes from the checkout form, and then verifies that against their data sources automatically. Now that all happens in the background, and I'll show you how that works here. So this will just let us add into this customer data. And if we go to place order, we can see that orders are going through, and there's no interruption to the user whatsoever. So although we've verified from that point, there's no interruption to that user journey on that side. If we go back into the AgeChecked platform, the AgeChecked backend in terms of the plugin, what we'll see here is this AgeChecked order history. It's important that we have this here to make sure that the user, let's just find that, to make sure that we know, certainly from a compliance point of view and an auditing point of view, if you as a shop owner or a store owner has to then submit any audit trails in terms of age verification to ensure that each user has been verified, then this is crucial to what you can do. So it gives an order ID, and then obviously with the AgeChecked ID that will allow the match up of that data to say that this user or this purchaser has been checked in terms of their purchase, to make sure that they're verified from that side. So with the order ID, you obviously have all the orders within WooCommerce, and you can match up there and match up the details on that side. Again, keeping yourself compliant, making sure that you have any audit trail there. And we have some features that have been requested that we'll build in terms of exporting that data and the ability to integrate that data a little bit more into any audit platform, so we can update on those certainly in future releases. But from an integration point and an audit point, and then that really is how simple the process is. Now, obviously, we want to show that the age check, the age verification process is happening in the background. So if we want to look at here quickly, so what I'll do is just jump onto a fresh site on this side, and what I'm going to show you is this secondary check that we talked about and Rachel touched on earlier. So if the AgeChecked API is unable to verify at that first step, what it'll do is present the user with a secondary check to give them a second option to actually verify that data. So if we go into shop now, what we'll do is add in some random data that won't be able to be checked against the database that we have. So again, if we add this into cart, so as we'll see here, we have data which we have added in here. So just add in next point, and random data here, which will then, the API in the background, client API in the background, will then attempt to check that against the database and then the data that we hold. So place order. So what you'll see now, once we're placing this order, just go into here. So what you see once you're placing this order is the API is attempted to verify that data in the background, but was unable to do so. So now it's presented the user with this secondary check that we have on here. So in terms of the data that we'll find in, so now we'll use our data that we have to make sure that it is verified against the database. This is always the exciting bit. Okay, so once we have this data in, then what we'll do is obviously hit continue, and then we can, what that will do is now verify against the actual data that we have in, and now we'll be able to verify that data there from that side. What I'll do is just show you here in terms of going into the back end. So into the back end, we see we have this order here. What we'll do is just refresh this for you. And we'll see that that data is then passed back through with the new AgeChecked ID and then the order ID in there. So it gives a couple of different ways to make sure, again, that remaining compliant, but also that we're keeping the user journey just nice and slick and just nice and seamless on that side. So there are a couple of other points within the plugin itself. It's possible to add it globally, as I said, to all categories, but there's also an option to add it into individual pages, which can be used not only just for WooCommerce, but can be used for if you have gathered content on your site where you want to then block those particular pages. All you would do would be to select the page and then save it from here. And then if the user tries to visit that page, they'll then be presented with the check from the API side on that. And then for the more development-minded, development-savvy side of people, we also have an on-click event that we've created where it will allow you to then add that on-click class to the actual buttons itself to make sure that if you're pressing a button to then proceed again to a different section of your site or anything you're trying from there, that will give that option there. But overall, what we're looking to do is to create something that's nice and seamless and just nice and easy in terms of the integration on it. So you've got all that power in the back end and with the AgeChecked API, but it's really, really straightforward to get that checked on with yourself there. There's full support documentation, certainly on the repository, and then also through the AgeChecked support side as well in terms of installation and integration. And we'll look forward to hearing your thoughts on that. But I'm just going to hand back then to Rachel to then give a chance to answer some of the questions that have been sent through, certainly from the Facebook Live point of view. So Rachel, a couple of things here, if we just want to check. So we'll have one to, so it's a couple around pricing actually, or what your kind of approach to pricing is. As we say, we need a merchant account from there. So what is, I mean, how do you charge, or what is the approach to pricing from AgeChecked?
So our approach to pricing is we try and keep it as simple as possible. So it's transactional based. It's based on the volumes of transactions you will put through on a monthly basis. We do have indicative pricing. However, we're very much aware that there are businesses that need more flexible approach. So we're welcome to discuss and negotiate with those businesses. So please do get in touch with either through the website or through sales@agechecked.com. And we can discuss pricing for your business. We generally start at, our indicative pricing is £40 a month for 100 checks a month. And then as your volumes increase, we can bring that cost per check down. We also operate a system of not charging for customers that have been through the AgeCheck process once with you as a merchant. So any returning customers, we would recognise coming back to purchase from you again, and you won't be charged for those returning customers. And that's another key part to our platform and our service, that we understand that there are a lot of businesses out there which are sort of small, medium-sized enterprises that need to be compliant, but also have a need for a very cost-effective approach to age verification.
I think that's a good point in terms of the flexibility. There's another question here that is, do you have to sign up? Is it a minimum term in terms of that for people, or the shorter terms available for the subscription?
There are terms available. Our indicative terms are for 24 months. However, we've got a lot of businesses that are launching online, and certainly through the very difficult period we've been through with COVID, where a lot of businesses have taken land-based onto an online shop, have a need. They don't quite know whether this particular business venture is going to be successful or not. So we have, again, flexibility in terms of our terms to even bring that 24 months down to 12 months if needed. And we're open to discussing if you need different terms. So we're a very flexible company depending on the businesses that we're working with.
Perfect, brilliant. I mean, so obviously this is WooCommerce, and there's a question in here about, do you offer similar plugins for any other platforms? As I think you noted earlier, that's the most popular platform we're looking at, but are there any other options for other e-commerce platforms?
Yes, we do. So we understand, again, the complexities sometimes of integrating APIs into certain platforms. So we do offer a plugin for Magento 2, also for Shopify, and also we're rolling our plugins out to other platforms. We've got the roadmap for this year. We'll be rolling out, so for BigCommerce or OpenCart, for many other different platforms, we'll be able to hopefully offer plugins across multiple platforms this year.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for that, Rachel. I think we're all done there. I think there are some other questions, so please send them through. And I think the best email is sales@AgeChecked.com. We can get straight into you guys and get some information from that.
Yeah, that would be great. Or they can access us via the website.
Of course, via the website. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much. Any questions, we look forward to hearing them, and we hope you have success with the plugin itself. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.